Here we are. I think we're on.
We are
Hola!
here. Hi, everyone.
Hey, you guys. Let me know if you could hear us okay. If we sound good. If we sound weird.
If we sound too low.
If we sound too
or
low
too
or too high. Gail is here. Ruby, Cindy, Anna, Cheryl Ann. Hi, you guys.
Hi, everybody. We've got
Esther is here.
Kerr, Stephanie, and Kyle. Hello from Australia. Hello.
Awesome. Esther was like, didn't think I was going to make it. Well, we're glad you're here, Esther. Kyle's here. Hey, Kyle.
How's everybody doing?
Amazing. Amazingly, I have no question today. I'm just excited to watch and listen. Awesome, Cheryl. Cameron. Hi, Cameron. Rebecca Murphy. Victoria. That's you guys. This is awesome. This is awesome.
Thank you so much for joining us. Cruz,
Hey,
Fat
Cruz.
Cat, Ellen. How low can you go? Approximately this slow.
We
That's about as low.
yeah, we usually have like Johnny Cash competitions in here when we're playing Johnny Cash, and we'd be like,
Love
it's a burden thing.
makes a
I don't have a low voice.
Hi, Ray. Hi, Naomi and Wendy, Sarah, Carolyn. Clee has the hot cocoa. Ooh, actually, you guys, what we're having is one of my favorite things in the whole wide world. It's spiked ginger tea with agave and cream.
Yeah. So you guys probably know because we canceled the live stream yesterday, and I'm not feeling all that great. So Clea made us some ginger tea.
I did.
Which is good.
It's true. Gail says, "Hey, Rafi and Clee, love you guys.
I love you too.
The timing is good this time for me because it's the middle of the day here."
Awesome.
Excellent.
That's great. Well, hopefully you guys brought some questions and stuff. I will do my best to be able to keep up with your questions if you have questions. If not, we can just hang out.
It's true.
Because I am very, very happy to see you guys. The holidays is coming up. It's been a crazy year. The holidays have been crazy. If you look over here, I'm going to show you guys real quick. You look over there on that table are all the calendars that we packed. And
So many calendars.
Apparently packaging calendars is an all-day affair. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That-
It most definitely
All day. That took all day to do, but they are ready to go out tomorrow. So any of you guys, I know that Ray ordered calendars. Any of you guys that ordered calendars, they will be shipping out tomorrow morning, and that was our goal, was to get to the shipping deadline on time. So,
Yeah. We had a good assembly line thing happening for the calendars.
we did. I filmed it in time lapse, so you guys will be able to see that, because I'm still planning on putting together the mother of all shipping videos, because that painting behind me and a much bigger nude painting is going to be shipping out international, and mother of all shipping videos will be happening soon. So we'll see.
Cameron wants to know, how do you keep each other motivated and push to keep going versus when to tell them to rest? You know,
That's a good question, Cameron.
That is a good
because
question.
yesterday I had to rest.
it's true. And basically, my MO is just to constantly check in with Rafi. How you doing? How you feeling?
Yeah.
Do you need anything? Do you want tea? You're having soup? Okay. Do you want some other kind of food? And basically, like, really, it's up to him to make the call if he can do the thing or not do the thing. But we check in with each other all the time.
Yeah, and it's important to take that moment of pause, because there are times where it's just like, I don't feel like doing anything, and it doesn't have anything to do with like burnout or anything like that. It's just that maybe you're on you guys probably already know that when you take some time off and you're not doing the things, that sometimes it's hard to get back into doing the things, right? Especially if you've had like some artistic block or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it's a matter of reminding, like, okay, well, you could just fa-chunk it, but not, it's Clee is her own person, so I'm not going to tell her what to do.
No, it's just like a sounding board kind
Yeah.
of thing. Like, and I do use fa-chunking, especially if I'm feeling a little like, ugh. And usually it ends up with me working on something for long times, but sometimes I do have to say, all right, that's good enough. Good
Ray
enough.
said, yes, woo, I'm excited for 2021 now. Awesome. Naomi and Wendy said, "Do you have a cold, Rafi, or did you just beat yourself into a little bit of both?" So my daughter has been having some issues. Like she's moving out, she's going into college, and she was having some financial stuff. So like she called me up, and she just got into a car accident. She's okay, but now the car is going to cost more money and stuff like that. So in having conversations with her, and with everything else going on, and with trying to do all the things, it just I think I had a moment of overwhelm, and on top of that, I wasn't feeling well. So I think yesterday it all hit me.
Yeah, I think it was like really emotional and possibly some like burnout, and then something something maybe disagreed with his tummy.
My tummy,
And-
my tummy was not.
I don't know
my
about
tummy
you
was
guys,
not
but
good.
when your tummy's upset, it like affects your ability to think and like do things in a productive manner.
Yeah.
Kerr said, I tend to get tunnel vision when I'm doing something and I am terrible at stopping.
Yep.
I am too with certain things.
Yep. I mean,
Really.
and the thing is that there are times where like your body just tells you to stop. Like when I'm working on something and then my back starts to hurt or something, at some point there comes and usually like after hours have gone by, that I'm like, okay, it's time. I'm done for today. And then at that point, I'm able to psych myself out for the next day, get really excited about getting back to that project the next day. But it's the ability to allow myself to just stop and be like, okay, I think I'm done. I'll announce it. I think I'm done, Clee.
Or as your dad likes to say, that's good enough.
That's good enough.
Altia said, oh my God, I made it to one of your streams finally.
Yes.
Welcome. Maybe it was all in the stars that we had to reschedule for
Yep.
today. Guys, I'm going to say the thing that I always say, because the ticker tape is already moving at lightning speed. If we miss your comment or your question, please feel free to type it again. That's
Yeah.
not a guarantee that we're going to see it the next time, but please feel free to type your question as many times.
Yeah,
as
we
you
want to
need
make sure that we get, like, if you have a question, we want to be able to answer it. But we could drone on and on one question and miss some of the other questions.
It's true. Hi, Sarah. Internet running slow.
Samantha, hey Samantha,
Hi,
we're glad
Samantha.
that you made it. Mega miserable pain, so tired this evening. May not make it. Well, if we lose you during the stream because you fall asleep, that's fine.
It
At
is
least,
okay.
yeah. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. Happy your daughter is okay. Cars can be replaced, but people can't.
Yes,
It's
yes,
true.
exactly.
Yeah.
Stephanie, tell us how a conversation goes when you are given a crappy picture for a commission portrait. If you do, okay, Stephanie. So, unfortunately, the situations where that has happened, I've had people come up with crappy pictures, and I've told them straight out, like, this is just gonna cost you a lot more. It's gonna be a lot more difficult, and I'm probably not gonna be able to really come up with a good likeness for this person. But then I've had other situations where it was like really personal, and like their favorite picture was this really crappy passport picture where the person was kind of making a face that if you blow it up into a larger painting, it's not going to look good. And then what I end up telling them is like, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do what it is that you want me to do. Do you have any other pictures that I could use as a reference or something like that? And unfortunately, most of the time I just go for it and then agonize over creating a piece.
I've heard Rafi say, are there any other pictures that you can send me for reference on the eyes and maybe reference of like, different elements of the face, and then I will put it together. I'll attempt to put it together in the format that you would like.
So give me several pictures. But yeah, I've gotten maybe about 4 commissions like that, because I think people don't realize it, like that doesn't really come together. They figure that you're an artist, and so you see something and then you could create something accurate, not realizing that like we need details. So a lot of times you just got to tell them like, I need some details, please.
Joy's Art said, hi, first time I've been able to make the live stream. Hi,
Awesome.
Joy.
Hi, Joy.
And Evelyn, I see that you're typing my name a bunch of times. Yes, I see the name popping up. Hello to Evelyn. I'm not sure if that's the reason, but also if you're like, you've got some weird stuff on your face, please feel free to let me know. Or if you guys can't hear me, can you guys hear me okay? Hopefully you can. Hi, Zara. Ruby said you can always take a bad photo and make it look good using your own style.
Yeah.
Yeah, it also depends on how open to interpretation the person is.
Yes.
Most definitely.
The problem is when it is a memorial piece for somebody that passed away, and that's one of the questions that I'll ask them is like, do you want this to be like an accurate portrait, or do you want this to be more along the lines of capturing their personality and stuff? And then I'll sit down and have a conversation with them. With one in particular, the mother was an artist and she had passed away, and so like I got to see a lot of her artwork and her style and who she was, and then basically created a piece based on that.
How do you deal with them changing their mind 3/4 through, like add a hat or a dog?
So I give them one change, as long as it's a small change, and anything additional, like if they are really like going through, is like, is there any way you could add a hat or a dog? If it was a dog, I would say that was extra, because if I did a dog portrait, I'd be charging them for a dog portrait.
Yeah.
Something like a hat, it'd be like, okay, I could add a hat, but that's it. That's all you get. Anything else, I'm going to have to charge you extra. Or even for the hat, like if they want a super detailed hat, and I like, especially with your work, that's going to take some work to do a hat. So I would definitely charge them extra. Fine, I could do it, but it's going to cost you this much.
Rebecca Murphy asks, is it okay to start a new medium in the cheapest form possible, like using the cheapest stuff possible? And I say yes.
Yes.
In fact, I highly recommend it. When I started doing like wire work and stuff, I was working in copper because I knew I was going to make mistakes, and then worked my way up to silver and gold and what have you.
Rebecca, the cheapest things are the cheapest things because that's the perception that they have. Just because something is priced a lot more expensive doesn't necessarily mean that it's a better material. It just means that it's a different, not even quality, just a different medium in a different way. There are cheap materials that just don't react or adhere.
That aren't going to give you the experience.
That aren't going to give you the experience that you want. But for the most part, I actually have room for both expensive materials and cheap materials because I use them in different ways. I just see them as different mediums. So absolutely, if you're trying something, go with whatever is cheapest and easiest, and then work your way up from there.
Evelyn said yes. I love this channel. Thank you, Evelyn. Esther said the chat thingy isn't working. That fixed it. Okay, I think, yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully it's working. Hi, Rafi and Klee. Hi, Sheila.
Hey, Sheila.
What advice do you have for someone trying to get their work out there during these crazy times? The quick answer is the internet.
Yeah.
And get familiar with things that maybe you aren't familiar with yet. Like we've done a lot of things this year that maybe we were dragging our feet on or just didn't quite know how to go about it. And this was definitely the year to pursue those things.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, a lot of the stuff, Sheila, that I'm writing about in the marketing book is more along that. Honestly, when I think about it, I should have named the marketing book Put Yourself Out There, because that's really what most of the marketing is, whether or not you're doing it online or you're doing it in person. And so there's a lot of things that this year Klee and I have done that are going to go in there, but it's all about just putting yourself out there in whichever way is available to you right now. So whether it's a show or a business that's still open or anything, just the more places that you are in and at online, the better. But just not anything that overwhelms you or is too much work. Make it easy on yourself.
Hi, Shawan.
Hey, Shawan.
Let's see. Crooked Path said, I just moved from copper to silver wire, and boy, is it a price change. Tell me about it.
Yeah.
And man, when you want to work in solid gold, I just about faint every time I have to order gold for things. Thank you. I've actually had people ask for hats and several dogs.
Yeah.
What's the smallest canvas you would do a portrait on?
The smallest canvas that I would do a portrait on? Well, I mean, the thing is that the smaller they get, the more expensive it would be.
For the detail.
Because of the details.
Yeah.
And the brushes. The thin brushes are upkeep. I actually have to cut. Like, I do this weird cut on my brushes, some of the old ones, so that I get like a single bristle or like two bristles that taper into one another for super fine details.
How do you convince people that you multitask? I'm constantly accused of putting my art over my day job or upcoming wedding, even though I'm actually balancing as well as I can. My opinion is it's not your job to convince anyone of anything you're doing. It's really none of their business.
Yeah.
And I wear the single tasker badge with pride. Whatever I'm doing, that is what I am doing.
Yeah.
And that's my business.
Yeah, and that's basically what it comes down to. It's like, well, you know that there's this thing going on, and you should put this above your job. And I'd be like, why don't you mind your own business and live your own life and leave me alone?
Because I'm getting all the things done.
Yeah.
Because I'm a business person and an artist. How do you schedule your pins of your work on Pinterest? Oh, I don't know a thing about Pinterest.
Gail, I don't know anything about Pinterest, but I do use Pinterest. As far as like scheduling stuff, I use a website called Later. Sometimes I'm not that organized, but Later, they have the basic plan. So you're able to post to Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter, and Facebook, like your business page on Facebook. And you're able to schedule the posts throughout the week. And they have the free basic plan, and then they have like this paid plan. So that's what I use. And Later is LATR.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how I schedule my post on Pinterest. But other than that, we actually get a lot of traffic on our website from Pinterest. So that's why I keep posting on there. But I really have no idea how to use Pinterest.
I pin things on Pinterest when I remember that Pinterest exists,
Yep.
which isn't very often, but
Yep.
it does. Pinterest is a great place.
It is.
To put your stuff. Sheila said, OMG, that video with the car salesman marketing pitch was absolute gold. Glee's face in the background saved me. I thought you had turned to the dark side.
Luckily, I did not.
We had a lot of fun with that shenanigan. Kyle said, check down those geometric coloring books out in public places. A comment. These brought extra light to my day. Thanks, Kyle. I made people happy. That warms my heart. I hope my art will do the same.
Kyle, that's so awesome.
That is awesome,
So
Kyle.
awesome. Yeah, I love what you're putting out there, Kyle. And I'm excited to just see it keep progressing. And the way that you reach out to people and the stuff that you're doing, it's really, really awesome.
Inez said, thank you, Clee and Rafi, for doing this live stream. I have a bio that I hope will evolve, but what would you suggest to mention on a mini bio?
Bio.
I wrote like a novel for my bio, and I picked like the 4 most important things that I had to say from that mammoth bio and put that as my mini bio.
Yeah.
Which is like who I am, a little bit about why I do what I do, and a little bit about how I do what I do.
Basically, think of it like just a little paragraph or something that you could put in the beginning of every artist statement. Like, this is who I am. This is why I do what I do. You know, just like what Clee said.
Or whatever's really important to you.
Yep.
Like if you could crystallize what are the things you want people to immediately know about you. Because it is ultimately your personality that you want to shine through there.
Yep.
Let's see. Since you are traveling come March, if communication is necessary, will your P.O. box still work? So we're hoping to transition everything over, and of course we're going to keep you guys updated as we do the things.
So one of the things that we've actually been looking at is to move to a place, to a different location,
to have a hub
that is more centralized before we actually do, and that way we don't have to get like a giant RV. We get like a little mini art studio.
One that's not terrifying and awful to drive.
Yeah, because I'm actually kind of scared to drive one of those big things. But also we've been thinking about moving in our studio and expanding the studio a little bit. So come March, we will either have the same P.O. box or we'll be changing it to a different P.O. box.
Fat Cat said, I'm not good at saying the mind your business thing yet, but I'm going to try. Setting boundaries for the win. I love that. And if you're not comfortable saying mind your business, just be like, it's okay. I've got this.
Yeah, I've got this.
Don't even worry about it.
I've got this.
I totally got this. A live stream, cool bonus for me. Hi, Tamara.
Hey, Tamara.
Yeah, we were going to do the stream last night and we could not. So here we are today. No one knows what Pinterest does. It's a mystery
wrapped in a riddle. Yeah.
Do you follow any YouTube artists to learn different techniques for your art? And if so, who is the biggest inspiration?
I don't. I don't.
I go to YouTube when there's like a very specific thing that I'm curious about, how like I watched a wood crafting channel once to see how this one particular thing worked.
Stuff like that. Yeah.
But other than that, no, I'm kind of just, I'm all over the place with who I follow on YouTube, but actually,
I think if I'm looking for something specific where like I'm kind of blocked, where I'm like, fuck, man, like what how do you because my problem is that like I've done a lot of different things in painting, but I forget, because if it's something that I did maybe once or twice or 3 times or 4 times, or was like, oh, this is amazing, some stuff I write down, that way I know my technique. But then some stuff I forget. So like I'll go online to get inspiration for how they do it and then see how I could tweak that.
Yeah, but it is a good idea to keep pretty detailed notes on
Yes.
how you did something that you really liked, how it turned out. I've learned that. Most definitely.
Stephanie said, have you stopped submitting art to juried shows? I'm ready to enter 2021. I stopped, but I stopped because we've been really busy in the studio and trying to change direction. But I mean, juried shows is fun. They're fun.
It's true. And I mean, there's so many different formats too. It could be a virtual juried show, or it could be the kind where you're sending your work off to a gallery, or it could be a live in-person show. We've done a crap load of juried live in-person shows where you're like out at a show for anywhere from 1 to 4 days. We're kind of looking at other avenues because we've done so many of those, but it's not to say that we wouldn't.
Yeah.
If the circumstances weren't right.
The thing is that every show that we did, whether it was a festival or a show, we did because we wanted to experience it and we wanted to have fun. In fact, there were a lot of shows that they wouldn't allow us to set up together or near each other, and we were like, no, thanks. You guys are too pretentious, taking yourself way too seriously. Like, we're gonna do our own thing.
Hi Mario, hi Cass.
Hey, you guys.
Gail said, get a farmhouse in Waco. They are great and not so expensive. That we were looking at everywhere.
Yeah.
And we will once we zero in, we'll let you guys know where we're looking.
Yeah, we're gonna make the announcement and be like, this is where we're going, and probably everybody will be like,
why? Patrice said, my news, got a painting accepted into our local museum's art show, juried, and a local store is letting me bring my art and she's selling it for me. Been painting 1 year.
Hold on 1 second. Evelyn is leaving because she's like, bye.
Bye, Evelyn.
Bye, Evelyn.
Congratulations, Patrice.
Congratulations.
That's awesome on both fronts. Been painting 1 year, official.
That is so cool.
I love that. And I love to celebrate those wins and tell Rafi, I'm a real jeweler.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll look at Cleo and be like, I'm actually a real artist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cheryl Ann said, I take process pictures sometimes to help remember how I did something.
Yeah.
Also good.
I also film myself. Actually, and with music, like whenever I'm playing around with the guitar, Cleo will film me so that I could actually remember the chords.
Yeah, now we just need to find a way to organize all that footage and share it with each other. Ruby asks, how many pieces of art do you think you've made so far?
Like, my career so far? Here's what's interesting about that. So, I've always been an artist, and I could count on both of my hands how many actual pieces of art I created before I started doing this a decade ago. And in all honesty, I have sold over 1,500, maybe 1,600 pieces, and I have created 3 to 4 times that.
Yeah, I was gonna
and
say,
I've given away a lot of pieces.
I did a rough estimate that I've probably made in the time I've been doing this as a business, right? Somewhere between 4,000 and 6,000 pieces of jewelry.
Yeah.
But that's a guess based on numbers that I can find in places.
Yeah, numbers of sales and things like that, and like that doesn't count the one-offs. There's so many times that I go through my pictures and I'm looking at stuff and I'm like, holy shit, I forgot about that. Like there are a lot of pieces that I don't even remember that I created, and we didn't take good pictures when we first got started.
I didn't take any
we don't
pictures.
have an accurate.
Yeah. Texas is El Cheapo.
Yeah.
If you choose Texas,
We'll help you move.
We know we have a good crew of rogue artist family that are in Texas.
Yeah.
And because of you, and really only because of you, Texas has been a contender on the list of places.
Samantha said, I told Florence you weren't too great at the moment, and she said, "Aw, my poor best friend." 5-year-olds are awesome. Aw, thank you, Florence.
That's so sweet. How many pieces do you do in a month that you're getting paid for? I sell sometimes, but not often. That can vary greatly as well.
Yeah, I mean, Gail. So let's put it this way: I have maybe about 120, 150 pieces around the house, not to mention the paper ones. There's probably about 200 pieces, and I have another 150 that are hanging around town. When you ask a question like that, how many pieces are you creating a month that you get paid for? I don't know, because there are pieces that I've created a few years ago that are selling now. There are pieces that I created this month that are selling. So like, it really is just accumulative.
Yeah, and if you're speaking about like orders coming in, like you get the order and you're making
like a made to order
or commissions.
Yeah,
it can vary anywhere from a handful a week to like a handful coming in every day. So, but it depends. And then we have quiet times where not much is happening.
Yeah, because I mean things fluctuate. You got to realize, like for artists, the holidays are usually not that big. So like a lot of the commissions that I got were like the little made to order commissions for my textured prints and obviously calendars, which is one of the reasons I sell calendars. The orders, the commissions that I have back here, those aren't even for the holidays. Those are just a commission that I got a couple months ago. So it varies. Sometimes there are months where I could have 4 or 5 commissions, and then there are several months that go by where nothing is happening.
True. Yeah, we prepare for those.
Yeah.
I believe it was Inez that said, I only drink with friends, and I had a glass of wine with you on the last stream, and I'm having a good beer right now.
Yes.
Salud.
Salud.
That's a lot. Dang, you guys. That's awesome. I really honestly wish that I had kept track, like really. But now we're left with estimated amounts.
Yeah,
but it's a lot.
And we actually estimate lower than what it actually is, because there are times where in the beginning, because we would do a show or several shows every weekend, so we would have several pieces lined up and work on them and do that kind of stuff. So like we created a lot of art, especially in the beginning, and now like this is what we do. So we hang out all day creating art. Oh, thank you, Cruz.
Thank you, Cruz, so much. We love you and adore you.
Alita, I'm taking baby steps trying to create a sizable body of work. Listen, Alita, just think about it this way. You're taking your baby steps. It's not like I created thousands of pieces in one day. We're talking about 10 years, 11 years that I was creating those pieces. And that was going through like some months where I was like, oh, I'm going to create everything and like doing all this stuff. And then there'd be months that were just really slow, and maybe I was working on my motivation or I was working on something else. So like, absolutely take your time. As long as you're doing it, then it's when you look back and you're like, holy shit, look at all this stuff that I did.
Hi, Abby.
Hey, Abby.
Kathleen, I started sewing plush art since I was 14, 25 now, but I only started selling 3 years ago, and I've created close to 300 individual unique pieces. Not all of it sells, but I create anyway because I love it.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
And that's the thing, like you got to create, that is beautiful, because you do have to create regardless. If I was only creating based on sales and like I was equating that into my calculations, I would not have the pieces now to sell.
True.
And it's funny because like if you're basing it on the sales that are behind you, then and you're only going to create that, you're not going to be ready for when all of a sudden there's an influx of people.
And trust me, you want that stuff ready.
Yes.
Hi, Matthew. I just sent an email recently asking Rafi about ink drawings. My question is, do people buy just ink to display, or should I branch into painting or color? I just don't know if people dig black ink things. I do. I think they're awesome.
Yeah, Matthew, so if you do get into doing paintings and stuff, do it because that's what you want to do. Maybe you want to experiment, you want to play around with a new medium. Maybe you want to do like a mixture of paint with ink or something fun like that just because you want to experiment. But there are plenty of people out there in the world, and all of these people buy what they like. And there are people that love ink drawings. There are people that love paintings. There are people that don't like paintings. There are people that don't like ink drawings. So like there are people that like digital art and don't like digital art. So like you got to create what you love because you want your people to find you. So that's ultimately what matters. Now but if you want to branch out into painting or color
because you're interested,
because you want to see what it is that you're capable of, absolutely do it. Do that because that would be fun. To me, like, there's a lot of mediums that I use that I just branched out into because I wanted to see what I could do with it.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely. And then you're either like, oh, turns out I hate this, or you're like, ooh,
ooh, this is cool. Yeah.
Hi, Fire King.
Hey, Fire King, awesome. I'm here now. Kathleen, you guys are so awesome. You both inspire my art so much. Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much. Did the ticker tape just do a thing?
Yeah, it did a
Kelly.
thing. Kelly Andrews, happy holidays. Love you too. Oh, thank you, Kelly. Aw.
Thank you so much.
Found the other day that Bob Ross painted over 3,000 paintings. Yeah. And I mean, and that's the thing. A lot of the paintings that I paint are because I have a standard that I want to meet. So there's a lot of paintings. There's got to be over 100 paintings that I painted that are like giant pieces of crap that just will never made the light of day until maybe a year later I changed them into something else. But that's because I'm willing to do that. Bob Ross was on TV, so he had the standard of having to practice his craft and keep going.
Oh, 30,000 paintings. I think you said 3,000. Bob Ross painted 30,000.
30,000.
I was like, I'm sure he painted more than 3,000 paintings.
30,000.
Gail said, I've been avoiding painting since COVID and started doing junk journals, and now I'm suffering avoiding painting. Sometimes you have to just be like, let me just do this thing.
Let me just
do it for 5 minutes. You know, you all know about fachunking.
Fachunk it. Just get it started. And what's most important, Gail, especially if you've gotten in the habit of avoiding something, because what happens is you build that habit of avoidance, and that's all it is. So in order to break the habit, you got to throw a pattern interrupt in there. And that means that you got to start it no matter what your brain is telling you, no matter if you're sitting there blocked, and most importantly, don't put too much pressure on yourself and just create a piece of crap. Just create a piece of crap, but at least you get started, and then it'll get easier and easier and easier to go. Just go for it.
Mm-hmm. And Cheryl said, have you ever painted over a painting you didn't like?
Yes and no, Cheryl. What I actually do is I'll usually pull out some of the elements, and what I'll do is I'll go over the painting itself with some sandpaper and spray it with water and just remove some of the elements and distress it a little bit, and then I'll add whatever elements I want to it. So I don't ever just start off fresh. I'll use the texture and whatever of what came before and do something cool with that.
Hi, Tater Flaps.
Hey, Tater Flaps.
Better late than never.
Hey.
Indeed. Zoe said, feels weird being in a live stream not working on my collab lab piece. Posted it on Discord today. Oh, that's awesome, Zoe.
Oh, can't wait to see it.
Yeah, same. Stephanie asked, do you pretend to be nice to annoying or needy viewers or fans on the interwebs?
No.
You know, I honestly haven't had really any outreach from people that are super either of those things. And if they're just talking random stuff at me on Instagram, then I just...
We've had people. There's a big difference between somebody who's excited about something. People that are needy. I don't I don't pretend to be nice. Because I'm very blunt. I can't help it. I don't when people are when people are not seeing themselves as empowered and strong and all that stuff, I tend to just be very blunt about that and be like, listen, it's in your hands. Like, or if they're like, well, if I do this, then this will work. And I'm like, that's disempowering. Like, I don't agree with that. So
it's true. You are brutally honest with people.
And because I love them, I would rather be honest with somebody and let them know where it is than to treat them with baby gloves. And then, I'm not mean, but I'm going to just be honest with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Cameron asks, with the studio so close, good portion of your house, where do you go to escape the chaos when you run out of ideas and need a breather? Do you just relax there in the studio?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is both our creative space and our relaxing space. Certain things happen, like certain lights go off and other lights come on.
Yeah, it's almost like you got to set some kind of indicator. So, like, if the studio is somewhere else, you close the door. If the studio is where you hang out because you have a tiny apartment, then you turn off the lights, and that's the act of, like, closing the door. Mm-hmm. Natalie, thank you for your generosity, sharing experience. Looking forward to getting your market. Thank you, Natalie.
Thank you,
that's
Natalie.
So sweet.
You guys
Abby
are awesome.
just sent us $5 too. Much love.
Thank you,
Abby. Thank you, guys.
You guys really are inspiring, and you make me and others, I'm sure, feel like we're not alone in struggles, just to do something we enjoy and be happy that we did something, anything. That's fulfilling.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because that's what it is. I spent so many years not doing this and doing a lot of stuff that I did not want to do with my life because it's almost like you talk yourself out of it and you feel unfulfilled and you think that if you do get into it, you have to do this big giant thing and it has to be amazing and nobody supports you and I wish I had people that supported me with this and really what it comes down to is you just do it because you love it and just keep doing it and find people that do think that you're awesome and find people that will stand by you as you're doing this crazy freaking thing. Whether you're putting yourself out there and you're trying to sell it or you're just painting for yourself, you're an artist.
Mm-hmm. Kerr said, what makes me sad is when people compliment my work and they say, I could never do that. They can. They just think they can't. And then they never try. That makes me sad.
Yeah.
I often would come right back at someone and say, certainly you could, but the question is, do you want to? What are the things that you want to do?
Do you want to? Because, it takes some dedication. You have to be interested in it.
Yeah, absolutely.
When a lot of kids, I remember in school, people would be like, man, you draw so good. And I'm like, yeah, I've been drawing since I was 6. It doesn't matter that I'm 14. And they're like, oh, you're so talented at the age of 14. You must be a savant. No, I was just drawing since I was younger. I had a lot of practice.
Surrounded by Stars said, I stopped painting for a while. I was forcing it. Decided to pick up old hobbies from years ago. Lo and behold, having the best time painting gaming terrain. Haven't been this happy creatively in eons.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
That is awesome.
And kudos to you for allowing yourself to take a step back from painting and have that realization.
Yep.
Kevin said, I've been battling tennis elbow for 2 months now, and I have only done one painting in that time. I'm feeling a little lost.
Kevin,
don't beat yourself up.
Don't beat yourself up. And take the opportunity to play around with something that that maybe you've never tried before. So take that chance to do left-handed. When I was wearing a cast, I decided I was going to play around and see what the stuff was that looked crazy. Bad. It looked crazy, but it gives you an opportunity to just not take it so seriously, but still be doing something where you're challenging yourself.
My dad is always honest with everyone. Good
job, Rafi. Thank you, Cass. Yeah.
You know what?
You got to be honest, because if you're not honest or you're wearing gloves or you're whatever, then you have to remember the way that, you might as well just be who you are.
That was
all the
something
time.
that really I've come to know and kind of own the last several years, because I was somebody who was really afraid to hurt people's feelings. But Rafi's if you're coming from a place of love and you say something that's honest to them and they take it good or they take it bad, you were coming from a place of love with it. So it's cool. Just be honest with people.
Just be
and
honest.
really, anything else is exhausting.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah,
And
and
not beneficial for the other person.
And that's the thing. Like I love people, and I think that everybody is capable of doing something amazing, is doing what they want to do with their lives. So like, if they don't, they're, I'm gonna let them know. I don't agree with you. I don't. Naomi and Wendy,
Aw.
you've done so much for us. You never know. Oh, thank you.
So much. Question. I have completed a painting and varnished it, but I missed adding a shadow behind my main focal point. Can I tint some varnish and now add? Ooh, that's an interesting question.
Do it. That would be interesting. I think so. I'm pretty sure. I mean, you could, if you think you could do that. A lot of times when I needed to like repair something, I would just do a light sanding on the varnish and then add the colors
And then varnish over that spot.
and then varnish over that spot.
That is interesting, though, to tint the varnish and do it that
Yeah,
way.
I've never thought of doing it
Probably
that way.
would be cool.
Let us know. Let us know how that works out.
Um,
Gail said, "I want your marketing book. I want to get the marketing book out there. It's gonna be. It's. Man, I am so excited about putting this book out there because it is just not. It's such a cool thing. Like I wish. Obviously, you guys know that I write stuff that I wish was there when I got started." And so like this just really, it's going to lay out marketing, and I mean all marketing in a way that is not, it's much more layman's, it's much more fun. It's one of those things that when you see somebody like doing something, they're like, oh, that's what they're doing. They're marketing their product, so like you recognize that stuff, and then you're able to identify you and what it is that you want to do and put yourself out there in a fun way, like in a fun way.
Yeah, in a way that doesn't feel like soul sucking.
Yeah, that's genuine and real, and not trying to trick somebody into like, so if I do this and they get this thing for free, then they'll sign up for this, and then I'll be able to sell them. Like they're so underhanded. So like and you don't have to do any of that crap.
Mario said, "Love is always the answer, no matter how brutal." Well, it's true.
It's
true.
true.
Kevin said, "Left-handed. That could be interesting."
I know. How cool would that be?
Yeah. I'm super honest even when it makes people upset with me, said Fire King.
Yeah.
And then, then they're not your people if they're upset with you.
That's the way. I mean, because listen, you got to be yourself. And now the caveat with being honest is that when somebody's honest with you about how they're feeling, it doesn't just turn into this back and forth thing. So like, people can come to me and tell me anything that they want about me, about themselves, about whatever. And it's all about kind of like with Mario, what he says, love is always the answer. It's about unconditional, non-judgmental, no requirements. They don't have to be a certain way. I adore you just as you are, but this is how I see you. It doesn't mean that this is how you see yourself. And I just went on a completely different tangent, but yeah, thank you. Yes, Mario, love is always the answer.
So I just really want to know how to get my art in a show. And I think also previous to that question was, do you wait for shows to come to you, or do you go out and actively seek shows? And honestly,
I think in the beginning we looked for shows for a while,
but it was also organic. Like we started off by doing the thing that had least resistance, right?
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like,
yeah,
we started doing shows, and that sucked because we could find stuff, but we didn't really know a lot about them because you would go online, and then what would end up happening is we would do a show, we'd meet an artist, and then they would tell us about another show or a show organizer
or a different
contact.
market or whatever. So we did kind of just go with the flow, but we started by putting our stuff in a place that was not juried, where we could just show the art.
Yep.
And then moved on from there.
Yep. And we find out about like art walks and things like that, and then we do that.
And then we would enter them, and some of them were like, no, and some of them were like, yes. And some of them were like, call us in 30 days. And we were like, we'll be at your office every day.
Yep.
Till we get in.
Till we get in.
Hi, Rafi and Clee. You guys are awesome. Love the rants. I listen to them while painting.
Oh,
Thanks,
that's
Charlie.
awesome, Charlie.
Let's see. I'm left-handed, but I don't think I could ever draw right-handed. On the other hand, I can knit and crochet with both hands. Go figure.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's awesome, and I also really like the way that you worded all of that. It was very fun to read.
Yes. On the other hand.
Is it all right to do an exhibition with only matted pieces, none framed?
Yeah.
I say yes. It depends on the place that you're showing them. Like some of the places that you show art are like only framed and only with
Yeah,
these
well then
particular
don't show
hardware.
them there. What I would say is you could do that. You could do an entire show where instead of them hanging on the wall where they're framed, you could have them hanging from the ceiling right off of the wall with something clipped onto the mats. And how cool would that be? You'd have like a suspended show.
That would be really
Yeah.
cool looking. Whoa.
Derek, is it better to succeed with conformity or fail with integrity? Thank you, Derek.
Thank you, Derek. And I also think that you cannot fail if you have integrity and persistence.
Yep.
But of the two, I would take to fail with integrity. But you can't stop me. So I would not fail.
Can you succeed with conformity, though? Because if you are conforming, then are you actually succeeding within something that you want to do, or are you taking on somebody else's dream?
It depends how you define success for yourself. If
Yeah,
you're
that's
talking in
true.
financial terms, then sure. But
Oh,
if
yeah.
you're talking in life fulfillment, then
So like back
probably not.
So back when I was trying to climb the corporate ladder and do something for someone else, my idea of success was like, as long as I beat that person's face down and make it to the top, then I win. You know, and unfortunately, that really wasn't how I wanted to live my life.
I like to flail with integrity.
Yes.
That's my MO.
Flail and bumble around with integrity, and eventually, as long as you keep going and bump into a bunch of things, you will succeed no matter what. But the whole key is to just keep going, because failure is non-existent. If you decide that you're going to keep going, it's non-existent. It is simply a work in progress. This didn't work out. How can I do that better? What can I do next time? Let's do this differently. So that's my that's my belief, Derek.
Do you have any advice on submitting darker or more explicit art to shows? Does it just depend on what they're looking for? For the most part, I've been confined to the internet.
I mean, it depends. There are shows for everything. We've done a few, like we've done some live market shows, like
Art walks.
HorrorCon.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, the like darker arts, like HorrorCon and the PearCon and Horror Fest and things like that. So like, you could show any kind of art anywhere. They have plein air shows. They have so.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it does depend on the show itself.
It
but
depends on the show.
There is plenty of place to show.
I've also though showed that kind of art everywhere at the market. I just show what I have. I don't think, but if some shows do have requirements of what it is that they're looking for.
Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. I watch you when I'm feeling down or like giving up on my art, and I always end up being inspired.
Aw, thank you.
Philosophy time with Rafi and Cleese, like Fire King. Isn't
I know,
it kind
right?
of always?
I don't mean
like
to
it.
like always be
No.
like, let me tell you what's going on in
But I like
my
it
little tiny
because
brain.
it's not just the meat and potatoes or the nuts and bolts or the brass tacks, as Alan likes to call it. It is also an emotional game. It's hugely an emotional game, and whether you persist is an emotional game. So
That's what I realized very, very quickly in us starting to do this, was that the only reason that I didn't pursue this back in the day had everything to do with this here and this here. There's nobody could have stopped me had I not believed that I wasn't good enough, or that I wasn't worth it, or that whatever just silly stuff it was that I was believing.
Derek said, thank you for your perspective. Thanks for that question.
Yeah.
I think that's a great question.
That is a great question.
There is no such thing as failure, just more data. Exactly.
I love that.
And also to say, I bumble exceedingly well.
Says
as
Naomi and Wendy.
If you can get good at bumbling exceedingly well, that means you won't be afraid to try new things. And
Yep.
if you can get comfortable in your discomfort, as I like to say and we like to say,
Yeah.
you will be an unstoppable force of nature.
Exactly.
Molly, would it be lame to show my art at the local physical therapy office? It's a huge place and super busy. I've spent so much time there lately working on sensory processing issues.
That would
I don't
not
think
be lame at
anywhere is a
all.
lame place to
No.
show your work.
No.
Honestly, if it's a bustling, he's got stuff at like a closing office.
Yep.
Like there's
There's a realty where I keep my stuff at.
Mm-hmm.
Close closing office. Right?
Yeah, like a mortgage
Closing
closing
office.
place. Yeah.
I've shown my stuff at the hospital. I've got stuff in a small gelato shop. I've got stuff in other places. I can't really remember.
Yeah, we're gonna have to figure
I
out where all
I'm
the
gonna
places
have to pull my
are.
list out because we haven't visited them since the beginning of 2020.
Thanks
yeah.
for keeping the art safe in
Yep.
2020.
Yep.
Hi, Yukiko. I just dropped in. I'm happy to see y'all. And this is random, but I use a zip tie method with portable metal grids to display art. You can use like a type of shaped hook depending on the art size too.
Yeah, that's actually what I use to put my walls up, to hang my shade cloth walls that I built. I use zip ties to add it, hang it onto the canopy itself, and then just curtain the little, not the S hooks, but like the little curtain things would just slide right into there, and that's what I would use.
Or if it's big giant art, then S hooks are great for
S
that.
hooks are fantastic. I used S hooks all the time.
Derek, with the super chat.
My favorite quote: "Success consists of going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm." Yes,
great.
thank you, Derek.
I love
thank
that.
you.
That's
That is-
really good. That is
is-
a really good one. Do you take photos of your art to these businesses and ask to hang there? No. For the most part, business owners, especially in a town the size of ours, oftentimes had seen the work beforehand.
Yeah.
Somewhere. Now,
That's the thing, you guys. You got to realize, like, we showed our work everywhere.
Most
Any
people-
opportunity that there was, we showed our work all the time. All the time.
I did once have an experience with a gallery owner. I asked to show at the gallery, and he was like, I'll need to see a portfolio. And I was like, oh, actually, that magazine that you had, this month's magazine, art magazine, is featuring me as the featured artist.
Yeah.
So if you care to flip through that, that was really lucky, though.
So Clay was like, the magazine.
I happen to be in that magazine that you
I'm the featured artist in that magazine that you're selling.
But you know, that's like a once in a lifetime chance to say that, so I took it. Fire King said, when it boils down, just about anything man-made is art in some way.
Yep.
Someone had to design it. It's
Somebody
true.
had to design it, yeah.
My grandkids think I'm great, so that means I am. I concur.
Absolutely. We think you're great too, so that works.
Samantha said, I'm right-handed, but also ambidextrous. I almost couldn't say ambidextrous, so flip between which hands I use, but I love drawing, sketching, painting with my left hand.
That's interesting.
Lucky.
Yeah. Lucky.
I wish I could use this hand more for things.
So to just elaborate a little bit on do you take photos of your art to these businesses? Not really. So if I just happen to be there, like when I went to the coffee shop and I was like, hey, so do you guys hang art on your wall and stuff? And she was like, well, you want to talk to the manager. And I talked to the manager and he was like, well, what kind of art do you do? And then I'll have him on my phone and I just flip through the phone.
And if nothing else, then the rest kind of sometimes happens by email.
Yeah.
Like if they're interested, then you can send some examples via email.
Yeah, especially if they already have like a certain theme or something in there, I might just contact them. Sometimes I know in the beginning I contacted businesses via email, but it's always better to just do it in person. I feel like it's always better to just do it in person because you're right there. It's
At least make initial contact
yeah,
in person.
Yeah.
Because businesses get emails.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, for example, we get emails a lot because we're on YouTube, so we get a lot of people that are like, hey, don't you want to use the man groomer? You know, or not even the man groomer. I forget which one it is. I'm not advertising you guys. But basically, it's like clippers for men. And I was like, yeah, I have an art channel.
That's a different channel.
Like, so, yeah.
I've got the bumbling part down, man. Someone also had asked earlier, and it's been rattling in the back of my brain jar because I find this is a tie-in. How long do you wait or persist before you've determined that someone who ordered something has ghosted you?
Yep.
And that depends for me on what's going on with that particular commission. But Rafi kind of follows the rule of 3. when it comes to that stuff, but also when it comes to businesses too. Like if you're trying to reach out to a business to get your art in there.
The rule of three and 7. So 7 is the maximum amount. If nothing happens after 7 times of reaching out, 7 times of them seeing my
Spaced out
stuff,
about a week apart.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. So like if nothing happens, then at that point I'm like, okay, I'm done. Wash my hands of this. No more worrying about it.
And every once in a while they'll pop up on your radar and say, I'm so sorry life was happening. And sometimes no.
Yeah. Sometimes no.
Yeah. Let's see. Interesting conversation about cross dominance, ambidextrousness. That's how my brain got scrambled and I developed sensory processing issues. It's a blessing and a curse.
Whoa, that's crazy, Molly.
I mean, the two do
Yeah.
influence one another.
Yeah.
Your body and the mind. So, yeah, that is interesting.
You said that with a dramatic pause, by the way.
Well, I
You're
think
like,
it's
"And the
fascinating.
body
And the
the
mind.
mind."
No, I think it's neat to think about how those kinds of things are. It's not that there's one that's dominant. They influence one another.
they influence one another. Yeah.
Sarah wanted to know if we can see her. Yes, we can.
Yes,
see
we
you,
can.
Sarah.
My grandson wants to paint just like Mom. I can't ask for anything. Oh, Kelly, that's awesome.
So good.
So cute.
Kyle said so true. We as humans are creative in so many ways. Otherwise,
Chili bowl haircuts for everyone. Naomi and Wendy, I'm left-handed, but I'm semi-ambidextrous and recently hurt my right hand and discovered just how much I depend on both hands. Highly frustrated. Wow, that's crazy.
Isn't it interesting how even if you are not ambidextrous, man, we are struggling with that word.
Yep.
If whatever your dominant hand is, you do use your non-dominant hand for certain tasks that you discover once you don't have use of it. It's true.
Yep.
Things you don't think of.
It is. It's interesting. Like when I had the cast and the first time I used the bathroom and I realized that I was going to have to wipe and I was like, how does that work? Yeah, it's interesting. That's probably TMI. Sorry, you guys.
I mean, everybody wipes.
Everybody wipes. Everybody poos.
But
Yeah.
like, needing both hands for like cutting and eating with a fork, or like for some reason I tend to brush my hair with my left hand even though I'm right-handed, and then all of a sudden
Yeah.
you're all backwards.
Oh, like, and then you're hitting yourself or doing something. It's like when you look in the mirror trying to do something back here.
That
All right.
messes you up.
So Simi says, what kind of paints do you use for canvas painting, oil or acrylics? Simi, I use oil. I use acrylic. I use enamel. I've used watercolor on there. I've used weird concoctions. I've used latex. I basically just anything. I don't follow any kind of house. I don't know if that would be a house. If it was the Wizarding World, it'd be a house. I don't follow a house.
I think that's an appropriate way to say that.
Yeah.
Earth Wrinkles. Sometimes I fantasize about traveling the country and selling art at festivals and craft events. But would the reality of that? Would the reality be worth it? The reality of that. Assuming things are normal, I'm nomadic by nature, so it may be fun.
You would make it work.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, when we traveled the country, we weren't selling art, but I think back and I'm like, man, had we been selling art, our opportunities would have like tripled or doubled. We were playing music and stuff, and I was creating art, but I wasn't really like approaching it as a career because I hadn't broken through my fear barrier yet. But really, anything like that comes down to you. Like, are you the kind of person that's going to make it work, or are you the kind of person that's just going to give into whatever the situation is?
The biggest stress factor that people have reached out to us about with that is like having a schedule of like trying to hit these specific shows at these specific times, and that could be really like a nightmare. So, but if you're just kind of going with the flow and just checking out whatever opportunities are in whatever area, I think that that's probably a great fun way to travel and do that kind of thing.
Absolutely. Ruby said, did someone ever pay you and then ghost you? Lol.
Yes.
Yes.
And
then
me personally, I never found out what happened, and
Yeah.
I hope that they're okay.
Yeah.
But yes, that has happened. It doesn't happen often.
I reach out to as many in whatever way, shape, or form that I can. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't happen often, but
no.
it has happened.
And yeah, as
Janama, never TMI. Lol.
We share all the things.
Yeah, we do. We do.
All the questions and of course your answers are so helpful because it makes us realize that we're all in the same boat. Telling the truth by creating art is our job in this lifetime.
I love that,
I love that
Inez.
too.
I love that.
Florence tells everyone Mommy is an artist, which is cool. Always falling asleep, so we'll say night-night. Oh, anyway, falling asleep, so we'll say night-night, but we'll probably be here for a little bit, though.
Aw.
Thank you for hanging out with us, Samantha. And actually, so we've crossed we're at 7:59.
Oh, it is.
So
Well,
it'll
let's-
be about time to wrap.
Let us give a big virtual hug to Florence because she is
I know.
freaking adorable.
I'm putting my tea down to
Yeah,
give
virtual hug for Florence and all of you guys.
Florence
Yep.
and you guys. I don't know if that was a hug on my part or like a grabbing of the face, more so.
Grabbing of the soul. Gotta watch Clee. Oh my god.
Sorry, guys. Derek said, I can honestly say your rants have given me just the encouragement I needed to keep marching along. Thanks for taking the time out to get video content out there. You guys are in my top 10 for sure.
Thank you, Derek. That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you for saying so and for being part of this community because our awesome community is one of the major reasons that we keep pushing forward and doing things because we love you guys and you bring awesome questions to us.
Mario said, stop trying to pronounce ambidextrous and just have another drink.
I honestly-
Ambidextrous. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, I honestly think maybe the tea is helping with ambidextrous because that's a tough one. And most of the time I can get it. But no, there are some words that thwart me every time though, just about.
I won an art raffle on Wednesday. My persona's getting drawn as a chibi. Oh, that's so cool, Fire King.
Congrats, Fire King. That's awesome. Ruffy, have you thought of doing a one-off montage of your work from the earliest works to current?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I've thought of just reintroducing the series because a lot of the earlier work that I've done and introducing it with the series of some of the modern stuff that I started, you know, like because like the Me and It series was an old series from the beginning, the Seasons of Change series, and obviously the more that I've been doing it for 10 years, they change slightly. So I'd love to see something if I could find the art.
Or at least, yeah, somewhere in the archives.
Yep.
Molly said, I've been paid and ghosted too for jewelry I made. Very weird experience.
Right?
You just wonder and wish them
what
the
happened?
best. What happened? The ticker tape moved quite a bit.
It did.
What was the last straw that made you open your eyes to you needing to burn bridges to pursue art? Oh, yeah, I just kind of like snapped one day, and that was the end of my working 9-to-5 life because someone was completely irrational and not kind to me in the workplace. Yours was like a complete life overhaul.
Yeah.
That's probably stories for other times because those are such long stories.
But yeah, I'll give you the real quick Cliff Notes version of it. Basically, I was working in corporate, and I was approached by my boss, and my boss told me that one of the employees that we had that was a great employee, that unless she got a promotion, that she needed to be terminated because she was getting paid too much money for the position that she held. And then I was told to find something. And I did. I found something, just totally some random thing, some mistake that she had made, and that gave them the ammunition to fire her. And then from that moment on, I couldn't look at myself in the eyes anymore. And I realized that I had crossed so many lines being in corporate that I had gotten numb to it. And that was a line that I crossed that immediately I realized that I don't want to be that person. I've never been that person. And slowly but surely I was becoming that person and becoming somebody that I didn't recognize. So I walked away. I walked away from the corporate world that day.
That was the catalyst. And then the way that events unfolded after that, we're all leading in that direction.
Yeah.
And what I was going to say is that it doesn't necessarily have to be a life-altering event that that hurls you into an artist's life.
Yeah.
It could just be little decisions made over time. For me, things just happen that way for me. Instantaneous occurrences, and I'm off in a direction. But also, I'm a careful person, so not always. Derek!
Oh, thank you, Derek. I just got to read this because Colorful Cast was like Worcestershire.
Worcestershire, as I like to call it.
Derek says, was there ever a time where you changed your style method because of customer feedback only to regret and go back to what you were doing? In the very beginning, Derek, and it was the last time that I made it, I realized that if I was going to do this, I was going to be me, because if I was following everybody else's direction, I was going to lose myself the same way that I did in the story that I just told about being in corporate.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was going to be me no matter what. And if they didn't like it, then they didn't like it. But I always try to go with my, now, if it's a collaboration where they're like, what about this and whatever, and I get excited about it, then I will, but not if I'm like, no, I don't want to.
I've changed certain elements of what I do based on customer feedback, but that's more like mechanical things, like clasps work better if they're shaped this way than this way, kind of thing, but not really stylistically for me.
Oh, thank you, Kyle.
Thank you, Kyle. I don't want to scream into the microphone as I grab the...
And Shawan, words are hard. Oh, thank you, Shawan.
Words are hard.
All right, so we better call it a night. Bad juju sucks. I used to be a repo man. It steals, right? I mean, and that's the thing. Like, I am happy for the experience because I got to experience that, and I know for sure that I will defend this life, this person, who I am now, with everything that I have, and never go back to even remotely being that ever again. So that's the benefit that I have of living that life that I got to experience, so I know firsthand. But I am happy with who I am. I would rather inspire and motivate and be myself, and then to try and climb the corporate ladder or whatever. And for people out there that's what they want to do, then that's what they want to do. I'm sure that they're great people, but as far as me and my experience, I don't want it. Okay, so...
Oh, you guys keep sending us
I know.
the questions. The challenge should be not to laugh during these live streams. I find it impossible.
Such an amazing group. Yeah, it is a great...
It is impossible not to laugh during these live streams. You guys...
It is, and Kyle, I'm still not feeling 100%, and honestly, I have been smiling this entire time talking
it's
to
true,
you guys.
even though we're like, oh, just packed calendars all day. We're still having an excellent time with you guys. Let's see.
How do you be yourself if you don't like yourself? Janama, every day, every single day, you chip at that.
Little by little.
Little by little. Little by little.
On the premise that there is no reason why you shouldn't like yourself.
We don't like ourselves because we trained ourselves and we're trained by other people to not like ourselves, when in actuality, we came into this world absolutely loving the little balls of light that we are. And we are still those balls of light. We just forget that because we think that we're something else. And we're amazing and beautiful. And don't ever forget that about yourself.
I could go on about that for several more minutes, but I won't.
We'll have to continue that next time.
Yeah, that's a good thing to talk about. Mario!
Oh, thank you, Mario. Love you, kids. Oh,
we love you. We love you and Cass, too. All the many's. Everyone's wishing us good night.
God's using you, Rafi. Sorry you've been through so much this year. Blessing. Thank you, Matthew.
We've all been through. We all been through?
Yeah, we've all been through the stuff, and we are all just badasses. Let's put
it's
it that
true,
way.
and also it's worth more than we could ever put into words to
Yes.
have this art community.
Yeah. Thank you.
Really.
Thank you so much, you guys, for being here. This is you. You have no idea what
I don't know what 2020 would have looked like for us if it had not been for interactions and communication with you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not. Don't. You're gonna make me cry. Okay. So
It's
let's.
okay. You
let's
could cry.
Stop.
you
can
want
cry
to.
if you want to. You can bring your friends around.
You guys, I want to say, if we missed your comment or question, we love and adore you.
Yeah.
The ticker tape moves so fast.
It did, and hopefully you guys repeated your questions, and if not, we'll...
Please know we love you anyway.
Yes, we adore you.
And
we
we're
adore
sorry
you.
if we missed something.
You guys are amazing. Thanks so much. Rebel Heart, I can't make it back for another live stream the next couple of weeks. Have a very happy new year.
You too, Rebel Heart.
Yeah, you guys, we actually won't be doing a live, but I do have some videos that we'll be posting.
This is the last live of
the
2020.
year of 2020. Ooh, okay.
So we'll see you live in 2021.
Yes. Now our patrons will see them.
There's one final
There's
live.
one final
on
live
Patreon.
on Patreon.
Yeah.
But we will see you guys in 2021. We'll be getting our new year started. I freaking adore you guys. I love you guys so much.
Mwah.
Okay. I hate saying goodbye.
I know.
Thank you both for all your encouragement. Okay. Now I'm really going to say goodbye because I found the end stream button.
Yeah,
I'm
you had to
stalling.
reacclimate to the Streamlabs end button.
I know, I'm stalling. Well, okay, so seriously, you guys, I absolutely freaking adore you. You guys are so amazing, and this made me feel a lot better today. So thank you for being here and hanging out with us. And that's it. Let's say goodbye. I adore you guys.
Mwah.